All right, ladies, gentlemen, gamers, it's your host with the most, Sad Boy. Anyway, we're here again with a new reaction video. We're going to be reacting to Dev Chat, the state of the game. I have all the dev chats here. I have state of the game, I have player behavior, and I have the mid-scope updates. But I'm going to split them up into three separate videos. I didn't want to do them in one because maybe that YouTube algorithm likes this more. But anyway, we're here to see the state of the game. So let's see what Riot thinks of the state of the game. I think it's pretty shit as an ADC player. Hopefully with the new season it changes, but I doubt that because the preseason kind of set the stage for that. And like every season, they pretty much just ignore ADC. So let's see what's happening. Let's see what Riot thinks, and I will react to it and say my opinion, which everyone wants to hear. My thousands of adoring fans want to hear. Let's see. Holy shit, that's loud. Oh my Guten. Is that Katarina? XD? Oh my god, look at Malphite. He's just screaming at you. Look at these guys.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Froxon Long Harris.
Froxon?
I'm the design lead of the Summoners Rift team.
Oh!
And I'm Patrick Petrie Noonan. I'm
Petrie?
the product lead of the Summoners Rift team.
Noonan?
The Summoners Rift team, we own game health and game balance and all
These are
of
the
major
guys who
game
are
system
responsible
updates in
for
League of
everything that's
Legends.
fucked.
So this will be things like the champion
Durability update. I knew it. I knew it. I called it. I knew it.
And today we wanted to talk to you a bit about
Let's see this
some of
shit.
our thoughts on
Let's see
state
this
of the
shit.
game and balance and
It's
things that
terrible.
we spend a lot of time thinking about
ADC
working
sucks.
on.
Durability
I
update
know
was
an
fucking
interesting one is
weird.
thinking about
These guys make
health,
so much
and
money.
When I say position, I mean like top, jungle,
Mid.
ADC.
Yeah, ADC
and
my
support, of
ass.
course.
My
We look at
ass.
Select rates, like how many people are playing it. What do
Yeah,
people
yeah.
feel?
Okay, let me pause it here. This is gonna be the first of maybe a couple pauses. Yeah, are they playing it? What do people feel like when they're playing it? ADC feels like shit, and people don't go support, they go mage. Granted, we're kind of going back to enchanter supports again, but if we're going too much to them, they're gonna get nerfed, which they've already been doing. So, bot lane feels like shit.
Feel and think when they're playing that, but we also
Yeah, why would I go support when I could just go a mage in the bot lane? Yeah.
think a lot about something called position agency.
Oh,
too.
let's hear
Yeah,
this.
so for position
What is
agency,
this?
unlike champion win rates, we can't really look at the win rates of a position because there's one in each team. And so
Uh-huh.
instead, we look at something called position agency, which
What is this? What is this
the
buzzword?
impact of position on the game's outcome.
Okay, you want me to tell you the impact of a position on the game's outcome? I'll tell you right now. Top lane does next to nothing unless you're playing one of the hyper carries, Irelia, Fiora, Jax, right? Mid lane can't really carry, they can get people ahead. Jungle pretty much almost decides the game, and bot lane is kind of useless unless they get hyper carried by someone. But even then, that's rare. I think it's, well, at least it used to be. I haven't played League in a whole month. I'll put that caveat out there because there's been no pass. It's been preseason. Actually, no, it hasn't been a whole month. It's been a week because the pass just ended. I lied. It was a week. But even then, in that time playing, I felt on ADC I was doing nothing.
So, for example, if a jungler were to gank mid and get a successful kill, that's
Wow, look at that Akshan. Look at that ADC. Look at that ADC.
And so
How is he
we
not?
use
Oh,
a
okay, I was about to say, how is he not
combination of
dying?
Some data models to figure out position agency, as well as our intuitive understanding as game designers. And
Oh,
as players
yeah,
of the
yeah,
game,
200 years, yeah.
To see whether a position is powerful or not.
Yeah, I could tell you ADC definitely isn't.
When you
I'm glad I'm going to split this up into 3 videos. This is going to go for a while. By the way, that Akali statue they have back there, that shit's hot as fuck.
You look at like how position agency is going across all the roles in the game right now. Is there anything you're seeing that stands out as
ADC.
needing a bit more attention?
ADC.
Throughout the year, we did changes like durability update,
Which did help ADCs,
the
kind of.
objective changes in patch 12.14, the teleport changes in patch 12.1.
All
And
centered around
these
top
changes all
lane.
tended to have one
Top.
role getting the bad end of the deal, which was
Top
top lane.
lane. Yeah.
Both top laners were less likely to be able to kill squishy champions.
Which, if you think about it, right? Granted, top lane is sort of ironically enough, even though I mentioned like Jax, Fiora, and Irelia, those are like the hard carries of top. They're classified quote unquote as fighters. I would classify them as like, or whatever they call them, brawlers, fighters, whatever. Garen and Darius, maybe Darius more so, but Garen and Mundo are not on the same class or level as Irelia and Fiora. They're just not. They're like different statuses. They both might be classified as bruisers, but two of them are basically fucking assassins disguised as bruisers. So Overall, though, the top lane is meant to be like semi-tanky people who can do some damage or just straight tanks. It's very little of the time straight tanks. I mean, look at fucking Set. He's not a straight tank, right? The only straight tank that really goes top lane anymore is kind of just Ornn. Every other straight tank just, I don't even know where they go. They're supposed to go support too, but like I said, we have a mage problem down there. Or they go jungle, but now anyone could fucking jungle. Let's be real. They made it so easy. So, and there is like specific junglers. There's some tank junglers though, but overall, top laners are brawlers or junglers. Bruisers or top laners. Fuck. Tanks. Jesus Christ. Work fried my brain today. Top lane is either tanks or bruisers, right? So, of course they're not supposed to like kill squishy champions. The durability update was honestly there to mostly help them, I feel like. It was mostly to help ADCs and mid laners by extension.
Playing in the mid or support or AD carry positions, as well as finding it harder to impact dragon fights, which had become a little more impactful overall to the game outcome.
He's not wrong.
And so what we
Graves KS that.
Top lane going down in agency, and so
Fuck
we tried
top
to give
lane.
Some of that back in preseason.
Yeah,
That's not
they
to say
did.
our job there is done.
You know what's ironic too, and I'll say this about the tank items they released. No tanks are using the tank items. Let that sink in. The only one who's using it is Sion, and everyone else who's not a tanker is using them. The only tank who's actually using the tank items is Sion, and even then, it's really bad on Sion, and Sion is not good unless you're the boss. So,
do you think that there are some gaps with the way that top laners find satisfaction in playing the
yeah,
role?
they're the beating
and
stick.
We observe that there's just a general split of players in the top lane overall. There are some top laners that really want to fight 1v1, and there are some top laners that really want to impact the map, and we want to make sure that
the ones that actually have to be top laners and play tank. Wow. This guy's probably going AP too, by the way. I love that they're showing he's killing the ADC. Just look at that.
Those playstyles are viable as
look
well.
At that.
Yeah, and I know in working on preseason, another one of the big things we were looking at is how we could improve jungle select.
How they can make it easy and remove skill expression from it, which they definitely did.
As probably a lot of players realize, like, if we don't have the right amount of people playing all the different roles, this leads to other things like
because the roles are unfun,
like less quality matchmaking. And so even though jungle's a very powerful role, we noticed that, not quite as many players were wanting to play it.
So let's see here, right? Jungle's a very powerful role, and that was because you needed to actually use your brain, relatively, to play it. But if you would use your brain, it would basically decide the game, like I said before. I don't really know now where it stands, I'm be honest. I don't know if it could dictate the game like it could before. But, yeah, it can only really dictate the game if you're good.
So I do know that we've created some changes for preseason that we're hoping will encourage some
Look at how sad this
trial
is.
the jungle for the first time.
Lilia is so bad, man.
Making it a little bit more
She's a better top laner.
In this latest preseason 2, we'd worked...
Yeah, look, they're showing Sion losing.
Done a bunch of the new tank items together. And kind of our
and the tanks don't build them.
Preseason did represent some.
What the fuck was that?
Kind of how we look at the mythic item system. Yeah.
Look, you see how Sion didn't even kill him or do anything to him?
So when we first started with the mythic item system, we were generally looking at a few specific goals. We wanted players to always be able to choose between several different mythic items.
Which shouldn't be the case for all champions, but for most it is this case.
We always wanted mythic items to be present in your build, and so
which for some people, I'm trying to think who this isn't the case for. I think it's honestly not the case for Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is one of the few people, maybe even Vayne too, but Vayne kind of not as much. But Kog'Maw definitely is one of the few people in League. I think they actually did what they said here. Whether it's good or not, that's hard to say, but people do kind of have to build a mythic, the only person being Kog'Maw. I can actually forego the mythic and still feel powerful, if not even better than without the mythic. Because the passives are just so good with Kog'Maw and just how he abuses things. But I'm getting off track.
So they were generally tuned.
Kog'Maw's not in a good state of the game, by the way.
To be a strong early purchase, but as
they're not strong early though.
We've kind of seen it play out over the years.
They're not.
It's had a few negative effects.
Yeah, this one is strong at all points in the game.
Namely, there are some champions who don't feel like they have a great mythic item, and so
Jhin
being forced to buy a mythic that doesn't feel right for their champion.
Well, Jin's one actually does feel right. I'll say that, but yeah, Kog'Maw
can feel pretty bad. And also, we've seen players wanting to opt into specific legendary items.
Blade of the Ruined King.
Items like Blade of the Ruined
Oh my god.
King that do feel great for that champion.
It feels great for almost every fucking champion because of the durability update.
And so kind of our swing at the tank mythics in preseason kind of reflects a change in our...
Yeah, let's make items for tanks that's not used by the majority of tanks, and let's make tanks still ass.
Philosophy, where we're not trying to pigeonhole champions into buying a specific mythic item every game.
Which is what ends up happening in the ADC role.
And the tank items are designed so that there are some mythics that you can purchase first, and there are some mythics that you can purchase second, and the whole system...
I actually think I agree with him here. I do think that there are some tank mythics that you could just build whenever. But that's because they're too broad, which, you know, might be the goal. But I actually think here, with all the new top lane mythics, with all the new tank mythics, they did actually deliver on what they're saying. Again, I don't know if it's good or not, but it is true that I feel, personally, that you can go different mythics in top lane because they're all decently okay. Obviously, there's, like, ones that are really good on certain characters, like Ornn and Jack Show, but, like, you know, there's exceptions.
Overall, is just a lot more flexible, but we still wanted mythic items to present this kind of high fantasy, high, you know, build power.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Over the...
This guy's, like, nodding as if, like... as if, like, he's, like, agreeing. This guy looks like there's, like, a gun to his family, and he has to agree with this guy's, like, wrong decision.
The game, with the mythic passage.
I always say that, though.
We think that, you know, this will strike kind of a good balance between early purchases of mythic items and later build-defining purchases for them.
Bullshit.
And I know we're still always looking at the different classes.
Okay, this is probably... Me reacting to all these dev chats is probably going to be me, like, just shitting on them, honestly. I'm not having a good day, though.
And champions in
Maybe that's why.
The game. While we are a bit looser on, like, you know, you always have to choose between multiple mythic items, because if there's an item a champion loves, like, that's fine. We want them to be able to take it.
So it's fine if they have one item, but they don't want them to be pigeonholed into one item, and they want it to be broad items, but they're okay if there's one item. Like, they're so contradictory, man. I hate this.
But we are still looking for cases where maybe a champion does want more choice in the item system, and they don't have that. Or maybe there's just a certain type of item that their champion would really benefit by, and it's not even available as an option. So there might be new items coming out over the next year.
There's no way. There's no way.
But yeah,
mid-season update.
Kind of this...
So actually, this goes into the next big question, and I might go over it in one of the next videos. I might not go over it in this one, and that's what they're going to change with ranked, because, you know, I'll spoil a little bit of the surprise here. They're splitting up ranked into 2 seasons a year instead of 1 big season. It's 2 smaller seasons. So at that point, at the end of one of the ranked seasons of the year, are we going to get a big major like patch in the game, like preseason? Like, we're not going to get another preseason, I'm assuming, until next year, right? But I'm assuming we're going to get some sort of change at the start of the new ranked season. Like, they're going to shake up the game a little bit in some way to keep it fresh, which is good because League gets old.
State of the game.
And it's kind of dying.
And balance in the game. I know probably one of the hottest topics for players is champion balance.
Like, oh yeah, kind of let's hear this.
The main vehicle that players experience the game. How strong is my champion? How strong is the enemy champion?
How strong is ADC?
It was really exciting to see the champion durability update go out, and we saw it live. The fights are lasting longer. Players have more opportunity for strategic decisions.
Oh, they love that.
It was exciting to see that this doesn't seem to have, like, impacted bloodiness or amount of fighting or kills. That was something we were worried
really?
about. And then we've also had a chance now to see this play out at the highest
pro play
and professional play and at Worlds.
Yeah, I think overall,
Faker like
you said,
didn't
we were very
cry
nervous about, you know, increasing the durability of every champion in the game and how that would impact bloodiness. However, we've kind of observed that there were some surprising outcomes from the objective changes in particular.
So is this just them stroking their cocks right now? What is this? What is
make
this?
Objectives a little more tanky, so there was more tension.
Oh, they definitely did that. This is actually one of the things I agree with. They made Dragon feel like a fucking, like, meat.
Around fights, and to make them more rewarding to take in compensation for that.
Oh.
And what we've observed...
I actually agree with that fully. I feel like dragons before were so negligible, and now they buffed the dragon, the aspect buffs, not the soul. I think they buffed the soul a little bit in some aspects too, but like the mini buffs that you get, like the regular buffs, I think those are actually really good now, to where, like, having one, it's not insignificant, but it's pretty small, but having like 3 or 4, it makes a decent difference. Like, holy shit. I actually think the dragon change is one of the most welcome changes that I liked.
Is that, especially in pro play, engagements around these objectives have been very high tension. A team
because they last long.
Burst the dragon and
Good.
then run away.
They shouldn't
Instead,
burst the
they
dragon.
have to, kind of think carefully about how
Good.
they're committing their resources.
Yes.
Maybe there's
This
a bit
is
of
good.
back and forth, and it's allowed for a lot more of this back and forth between teams and high tension engagements, which has been
like to call
really
it pussyfooting
exciting to watch overall on the pro play stage.
Oh
It's been exciting watching that at Worlds, but now that we're kind of focusing back in on live play,
on the real
the rest of
people,
the player base,
not the robots,
and what champion balance is like, we do still think there's opportunities to improve our current approach.
They're always going to say this, by the way. They're always going to say, like, oh yeah, we think we did good, but we could definitely improve. Anyone who knows anything about public relations is always going to say this.
To champion balance.
Yeah, for sure. So our champion balance framework that we did a few years ago,
Let's hear this.
It served us pretty well.
Oh, did it? Oh, yeah? I'll tell you one thing. Even though the champions came out busted as fuck, they were fun as fuck. Now we get champions that come out that are weak as shit, like Akshan and fucking, what's that lady's name? Neela? Like, they come out so weak and they're so unfun that they need to be, like, hyper buffed. But, like, oh my god, dude, I remember the days when Aphelios came out. Yeah, it might make it unfun for some people. I honestly think it adds, like, spice. It adds much-needed spice in the game. It is way better, just design philosophy-wise, and I know other games do this, and they're right for doing this, in my opinion. It is way better, both from a monetary standpoint and just from a gameplay, like, memory-making standpoint and rage standpoint, because I do think having some raging games is kind of fun and good. It makes you, all these people say they hate the game, but they keep getting back on it. Why is that, right? I think having a character come out OP is way better than having them come out weak. Because they're a new character, right? You want to make, like, crazy memories with them. You want to have them make an impact. Not feel like a fucking drop in the pond like Neela was.
Like, it's in a pretty good spot, numerically balanced-wise.
Oh my god, and they always go off the numbers. They're so dumb.
Making sure that champions feel good to play.
Look at
that.
that.
They're satisfying their gameplay fantasy that the player signs up for when they lock in their champion. And so even though a champion might be numerically balanced, it doesn't mean that they necessarily feel the most satisfying that they can be.
Very true. The numbers don't mean everything.
You want to have a kind of heightened focus.
This is why, short little side tangent here, this is why they actually reverted their ARAM changes. They tried to numerically balance ARAM, and they fucked up because a lot of people said you're going too far, you're making it unfun. ARAM is supposed to be fun. Just because you're getting near the golden ratio of, oh, they have a 50% win-loss, right? That is not good. That means they're balanced. Balanced doesn't mean fun, and I'm glad they acknowledge that. Whether they're actually acknowledging it or just telling us what we want to hear, I don't know. We'll see. But at least they know it, right?
Focus on that moving through this year, as well as kind of making sure that all champions fit the strategic purpose in the game.
Bullshit.
That.
Bullshit. There's too many champions and there's too much of a balanced nightmare to try and do that. They have champions that will be in season and they have champions that will be off meta. They can't have every champion be meta, and every champion cannot have a specific niche because there's so much overlap now, because there's so many champions. They literally can't do this. They're bullshitting here.
There are a few other deficiencies with our champion balance framework that we've observed.
Oh, yeah?
So
what
a
is
champion
it?
might be
what is it?
quote-unquote balanced, but they might be on the weak side of balanced, or the strong side.
So they might not be balanced. What are they saying here? What?
Side of balance for an extended period of time. But it doesn't result in them being changed. And so we're kind of making sure that champions, especially when they've been in a certain state for a long time, either too weak or too strong, but not quite strong or not quite weak enough to receive a direct change, that those champions will be looked at.
Okay, that's actually real important. So at first I thought this guy was being stupid, and the vocabulary he's using is kind of misleading, but overall I actually really like this because he says something that's important. It's similar to champions who aren't popular enough to get a skin. The champions who aren't popular enough to get a skin, they will not get touched for like, there's like a list on Reddit of like the 1,000-day club, right? Of these champions who haven't gotten a skin in like 1,000 days. Why? Because they're not popular enough. It's obvious. The same champions who sell skins are going to keep getting them. Lux, Ezreal, almost every ADC, which I'm happy about. But it's like, this is the problem when it comes to balancing, right? I think every champion, like I just said, there's seasons for things. I think some champions should be meta in season. Some champions shouldn't be meta in that season. That's not to say the non-meta champions can't be played. It's just they're not that good, right? But they should always be cycled out on a semi-consistent basis. You need to have a character at one point in time be good and then have them go to like maybe not be as good, right? Or change them to, put them back down. But the goal should always be try and buff this character to make them fun and at least overpowered for a little bit. I certainly believe that.
And so we think that there are many other small changes like this that we kind of need to investigate and see if they're going to be good to put into practice.
Oh, yeah?
So speaking of a good state of the game and the start of the new ranked season,
let's hear this.
Any recommendations for the players out there to start their rank
Don't play ADC in solo queue.
climb?
So I think the jungle is going to be a vibrant place
because they made it so easy. Look at what they're doing here. Look at what they're doing here. They're playing Teemo fucking jungle.
for champions of all types to at least
Yeah, you could do whatever you want in the jungle because we took away skill expression, and you could do whatever the fuck you want because you have your little Digimon Neo pet near you.
go in initially.
Wow.
I think the jungle pets are going to be meaningfully improving champions' jungle clears and
Yeah, so now champions who couldn't clear before can do it now.
their ability to perform in the jungle. Some other stuff with the tank items I think is going to be super exciting, and yeah, we're super excited to see how that plays out.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited to
Tanks suck.
hopefully take my Singed back into the jungle. see
Oh,
how that works out.
nah. Oh, my God, dude. Riot players, I always ask this question. How can you leave the balance to the people who, when they play the game, they don't know what they're doing, right? Granted, you can't leave it to the pros either because then the majority, the normal people, get fucked. But it's like, dude, Riot sometimes, or not even just Riot, just game developers in general, can't play their own game and then they expect to balance it. It's so sad.
But anyways, yeah, it's been a pleasure talking about just our thoughts
What the fuck was the point of this? What, you guys want to jack yourselves off and like look good in
on
public?
the state of the game, and we just want to wish all the players out
I mean, at the end of the day, I guess they did give us a teaser of what's to come. They're gonna add new tank items, and I don't know. They congratulated themselves. They jacked themselves off for what they've done.
there. Best of luck on the start of the ranked season, and happy climbing.
Yay! Good luck on getting all the trolls. But actually, that's something they have improved on, and I think that's even one of the dev state videos. It's player behavior. Yeah, that's the next one. So that's the one I'm about to get to. But anyway, this one's done. I'm gonna end it here. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you watch the next dev thoughts that I'm gonna react to right after this. Eee!